2 weeks ago, Atlassian held their annual conference, Team 26, and they announced a lot. New AI features, new pricing, new partnerships, and most of it got the usual coverage. But buried in the developer track were two announcements that almost nobody in the Agile community is talking about. And they should be, because Atlassian just told you who their future user is. And it's not the person clicking through the Jira UI. The first announcement is the Teamwork Graph CLI, or Command Line Interface. TWG CLI, it's a command line interface that talks directly to Atlassian's Teamwork Graph, 150 billion connections across Jira, Confluence, Compass, and every third-party tool plugged into the ecosystem. GitHub, Google Docs, Figma, all of it. 300 commands, read and write. You can query your entire Jira backlog, create epics, transition tickets, pull Confluence pages, all from your terminal. No browser, no UI. The second announcement is the Atlassian MCP Server, or Model Context Protocol. And this one's different. The CLI is for humans who want to skip the UI. The MCP Server is for AI agents who need to read and write to your Atlassian stack without a human in the loop at all. And think about that for a second. The CLI lets you talk to Jira from a terminal. The MCP Server lets Claude, Copilot, ChatGPT, Gemini, or any AI agent talk to Jira on your behalf. One removes the UI from your workflow. The other removes you from the workflow. Now, Atlassian didn't build these tools for Scrum Masters or any other Agile professional. They build them for engineers and AI systems. That's not a criticism. It's a strategy tell. The Teamwork Graph CLI is designed for agentic use, machine-readable responses, standardized envelopes, built to be called by AI coding agents like Claude Code, Cursor, and Codex. The documentation says it explicitly. Rovo is now in over 90% of Atlassian's enterprise cloud customers, 75% of the Fortune 500. Agentic automations grew 7x in 6 months. They also shipped Rovo Studio, a builder environment for creating custom agents, and Rovo Max, a reasoning mode that breaks large requests into plans and executes them across multiple tools. This is Atlassian saying, the future of work management is not a human dragging cards across a board. The future is an intelligence layer that understands the entire graph of work and acts on it. If that sounds familiar, it should. Jack Dorsey described the same thing in his essay earlier this year, the intelligence layer that replaces the context-carrying function of management. Atlassian just shipped it. Let me make the distinction clear because this matters for how you think about your own career. The CLI is a power tool. It's for the practitioner who wants to move faster. Instead of spending 20 minutes creating stories in the UI, you describe a feature, generate stories with AI, and push them to Jira in just one command. The board still looks the same to everyone else. You just stop being the person who maintains it manually and saving boatloads of time in the process. That's the builder move. You're still in the loop. You're still making decisions. You just eliminated the data entry. The MCP server is something else entirely. It lets an AI agent read your Jira board, understand the state of your sprint, create and update tickets, and push the context back, all without you doing anything. The agent talks to Jira the same way you would, except it doesn't need the UI and it doesn't need you to type the commands. That's the orchestrator move. You're not in the loop on every transaction. You're designing the system and letting the agents execute within it. And here's where I need to be direct. If your job today is to maintain a Jira board, create stories, groom the backlog, update statuses, generate reports, Atlassian just shipped the tools that automate you. Not a third-party startup, not a competitor. The company that makes the tool you use every day just built the replacement for manual board management. And they're not being subtle about it. Rovo agents already automate stand-up summaries, blocker detection, and sprint reporting. The CLI automates story creation and board management. The MCP server automates the decision about what to automate. Each layer removes one more human from the process. Now, I'm not saying this to scare you. I'm saying it because the window to adapt is still open. These tools are in beta. most companies haven't adopted them yet. Most Scrum Masters haven't even heard of TWG CLI. And that gap between what's available and what's adopted, that's your window. Now, I've been using the Atlassian MCP Server for quite some time. And now with the release of TWG CLI, I've been diving head on into that in a personal project for an iOS app that I'm working on right now. I manage my entire Agile Tactics backlog from the terminal, and Claude generates the stories I review and I just adjust them. TWG pushes them to Jira, the board stays clean, the team sees what they need to see, my sub-agent team, and I spend 0 time in the browser. Now, I made a separate video showing the full workflow, link in the description. That video is the how. This episode is the why. The why is that I spent about a 20-year career in enterprise insurance, banking, pharma, and several other industries, watching smart people get eliminated because they waited too long to change what they were good at. The Scrum Masters who survived reorgs were never the ones with the best groomed boards. They were the ones who built things that made the team faster, whether they were in the room or not. And these tools are the clearest signal, yet that board management is not a career. It's a task, and the task is being automated. Now, you may be asking, well, Danny, what do I do about this? There's 3 levels, depending on where you are. If you're still doing everything in the Jira UI, start by using AI to generate your stories. Rovo, Claude, ChatGPT, whatever. Describe a feature in plain language. Ask for user stories with an acceptance criteria. Even if you copy and paste them into Jira manually, you've changed the relationship. You're thinking about the problem instead of filling in fields. If you're comfortable with that, look at the TWG CLI, install it, and run a few queries against your board. Now, I have to back end this by saying, if you're doing this in an enterprise environment, you may find limitations, and you always have to adhere to the IT security best practices and policies that your organization has set up. So you may not have access to be able to leverage models like Claude in your organization. However, there's nothing stopping you from setting up a Jira Cloud account and setting this up in a sandbox outside of your work. In any case, see what it feels like to manage work without a browser. This is the builder tier. You're still making every call, but you've eliminated the overhead. If you want to go further, explore what happens when you connect Claude or another AI agent to your Jira instance via MCP. Set up an automation that flags block tickets without you asking. Build an agent that generates sprint reports from ticket metadata. This is heading into the orchestrator tier. You're designing systems, not operating them. The assessment at agiletactics.ai/assessment takes 5 minutes, and it tells you whether you're operating as a facilitator, a builder, or an orchestrator, and it shows you which dimension to work on next. The tools are here. The question is whether you'll learn them before your company decides to adopt them without you. Atlassian didn't make these announcements for the Agile community. That's clear. They made them for the developer and AI ecosystem, and that's the tell. The people building the tools you use every day are building the next version of those tools for a different user. And you can be that user, or you can wait until the reorg memo tells you someone else already is. I'm Danny Liu. This is Career Optional. See you next time.